What's up, everybody? Well, today I am here to bring to you another vacuum that is in my vacuum collection. This time it is of another Hoover. I pretty much have become a major Hoover junkie at this point. I just love collecting them. They're probably one of my most favorite brand of vacuums on planet Earth. And I always try to snatch one up whenever a good-looking one comes across my path, as per usual. And today, I have a Hoover Windtunnel Anniversary Self-Propelled. However, this isn't any ordinary Hoover Windtunnel Anniversary Self-Propelled. This is also another entry video of the video series that I call the Restomod, where I take and rebuild a vacuum and make it just as good, if not better, than how it originally came, while adding some custom touches to it here and there. And what I have here today is what I call Project TTM. Now, a lot of you probably know what Maytag is. They were the original maker of the Windtunnel back when it was first new in 1997. The self-propelled, like this, would first debut in 1998 with the Windtunnel name. But later on, come late 2007, early 2008, a company called Tektronic Industries, or TTI for short, bought out the Hoover company and completely changed Hoover's identity by that time. Some of their older vacuums did carry over in production following the TTI buyout, and this old Windtunnel self-propelled was definitely one of them. At the time was marketed under the Anniversary series. The self-propelled model definitely was the longest running of the Windtunnel name. And this one, I actually got and motor swapped it with an older Maytag motor and ditched that original TTI motor. So that's why I've dubbed this Project TTM, or Tektronic Maytag for short. I say that mostly as a kind of a play on words because this is a TTI wind tunnel with a Maytag motor. And I argue that it is probably much better, definitely in terms of sound with this motor, compared to the original TTI motor. That one just screeched like crazy, and it just was very annoying when it's running, and definitely runs a lot louder than the earlier Maytag motors did. So I decided just for kicks to throw a Maytag motor into this thing. Of course, I still have the original TTI motor. It's good to keep around as a spare in case, God forbid, something happens to this original Maytag motor. But for right now, this is quite a great machine to have with this kind of motor. And I definitely chose the later style Anniversary self-propel with the later style pet hair tool, mostly because this is definitely what people point to when they think of a TTI self-propelled wind tunnel. There was an earlier version that I also have that has the older style turbo tool that is covered by a clear plastic door. That one already looks too Maytag-like with that design, so I decided to not have that other one be the candidate to have the Maytag motor put into. I decided to put it in this one with the newer style pet hair tool, because it's honestly more of an eyebrow raiser with this design having the old Maytag motor than the original one. But other than that, I think I pretty much blabbed on for almost 5 minutes straight. So let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the machine. This will definitely make also a good candidate to redo that another video I made on another anniversary Windtunnel self-propel with this same style pet hair turbo tool. But this one definitely being in much better condition and having all of its tools. So right up on top here, it does have your self-propelled handle, which this is controlled by a little selector switch that slides on and off. Here it is in the on position, and the handle slides up and down when you apply force, pushing the vacuum forward or backwards. Pushing down will move the vacuum forward, pulling back up will pull the vacuum backwards. And you can also turn it off if you so desire, which definitely helps if you're using this on bare floors. You also do have your main power switch up on top here, which is Hoover's famous slider switch that they've used for years. And all this is just a little plastic rod that runs down into where our main rocker switch is behind the handle assembly here. Very interesting and quirky in that design. But I've always liked the slider switch because it prevents people from getting electrocuted from touching an actual rocker switch. Minor thing to note, but still a kind of a nice design cue. A lot of people have also complained about the power switch being backwards because they're used to the ones where down is on and up is off. But in my opinion, this is right side up. So just look at the power switch on your house. Usually when the lights are on is when the switch is in the up position on those. And when the lights are off, it's when the switch is down. Same with the one on this vacuum. I know it's kind of interesting how you can instantly just turn it on right at your thumb and there it is on, and then you just pull it back to turn it off. That's a little bit more convenient judging by that design, but in terms of power switches, this is right side up to me, even though it's not as convenient to turn on as others. So moving along down here we have the later style pet hair turbo tool, which was originally for the Windtunnel T series of the time. And the way they adapted it to fit this self-propel wind tunnel frame is just very weird to me. The only thing I don't like about it is the way it is mounted. Let me explain. The original design had with the older style pet hair tool was actually attached by two little clamps on the side that would grip the turbo tool when it's set on its dock. This one is only held on by a little plastic tab. Let me see if I can pull this off. Like that. See, it's attached by this little plastic tab right up here. And that's the only thing holding this turbo tool in place. And usually all the time when I see these with this style of pet hair tool, this always goes missing. Either from people not knowing how to mount it correctly on the thing, or the tab would break. Which I would honestly buy that the tab breaks, because this just seems like poor quality control to me. And also there is kind of a trick to put this thing on. I mean, when you put it on, you definitely want to hold it, make sure it sits on the little guide tools right there. And then as you push it up, it kind of pushes a little upwards slightly as it sits into the tab. And that's how it sits in place. It's not the most secure, but that's how it attaches. But I can honestly live without the clear plastic door, but I just wish this turbo tool was mounted more securely than how it came. So as we come along down here, we have right here your bag check indicator on the front, your nice big Hoover medallion front and center. So let's go ahead and show you the inner bag. So as per Windtunnel's standards, you have a Hoover Type Y bag. and I'm running HEPA cloth bags for increased filtration. It's definitely packed with quite a bit of dirt because I've been using this a lot throughout the lifespan that I've had it, ever since putting the new motor in. I've always enjoyed using this over the other one. You also do have a little pre-motor filter down here. You also do have a little pre-motor filter on the side here. And as you can see right here, this definitely does catch quite a bit of carbon dust. I do not believe this is from the new Maytag motor I put into it, but this was definitely off the original motor. But that's just one thing to point out. You can buy HEPA media filters for this, and I definitely would like to find one for this and one for the original anniversary, because those filter much better. And as you can see, it has it right here. Traps 99.97% of dust and pollens down to 0.3 microns. And of course, right down here, you do have your embedded dirt finder, which to me is kind of a gimmick, but I do see the appeal of this feature, giving a general consumer that probably doesn't know anything about vacuums a peace of mind that their vacuum is in fact working and picking up just as it should. And they definitely know that when the light turns red when it's picking up dirt. And it will go green when the carpet is clean. As it says right over here, green means clean. And you also do have a switch for different sensitivity. You could set it at high or regular. I always like to set it on regular, just so it works like just normally. And as we move along down here, we have here your 3-position carpet height setting, which unfortunately is only 3 positions. I really do not like this. They were kind of lazy in that design, because this type of carpet, I would normally set my vacuums to the middle pile. But because of this, it raises the brush roll slightly off the carpet to the point where it barely makes contact. So I like to set it on the lowest and just kind of let the cleaner self-adjust in a way as it moves from surface to surface. At least I have the self-propelled drive to help with pushing and pulling the machine. That's kind of what it's put there for, definitely. You also do have a hard floor selector switch to turn the clutch mechanism off for the brush roll, so that the brush roll doesn't spin when you're cleaning on bare floors. And when you put it back to carpet, it'll activate the clutch for the brush roll so that the brush roll will spin when it's on carpet. Speaking of brush roll, let's go ahead and flip this thing down to show you that. So right underneath is its original Cleveland Wood Products brush roll. This started becoming a factory thing for newer Hoovers at the time, following the TTI buyout, which is really clever design. These brush rolls are admittedly much better built than the original one that it was based on, that was plastic acrylic. Although I do love that one a bit better because it has a thin design that definitely helps with channeling airflow. But this one does have its advantage for being a wooden brush roll with sealed ball bearings on both sides. The original brush roll had open cartridge bearings. And the bristles are very nice and stiff. I initially was going to put an older style wind tunnel brush roll that was plastic and had the older design with the thin helix design, but the more and more I look at this, the more I kind of don't. Because this brush roll is already in good shape enough as it is. I did have to give it a clean out when I first got it, and I sealed and relubricated the bearings on both sides. So now it's good to go. So right underneath is your self-propelled transmission. And let's go flip this guy back up. And we'll go ahead and show you the tools on the side. You have here your 2 extension wands and your hose connected right down here. And on the back you do have your crevice tool, dusting brush, and upholstery tool. Thing I love about these is that they got the little Hoover symbol etched into the tool, and the dusting brush has it as well. And you also do have a carry handle on the back, which unfortunately is not really too good to get to if you have giant hands like I do, especially because the cord's in the way. So speaking of cord, following that I put an older Maytag motor in it, I did not swap the cord to an older style that had the different plug end like the Maytag ones would. I initially was going to, but those cords, finding those style of cords in good condition with no cuts or frays is to me like finding a needle in a haystack. Besides, this cord's already in good enough shape as it is, and also everything works just as it should. I don't think having the wrong plug or cord is going to affect on how the motor runs. I honestly don't see it doing any harm to this non-original motor. And it seems to work fine as is, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you the model number. This is Hoover cleaner model U6485-900. 120 volts, 60 hertz, excuse me. It has a 12 amp motor, and this new Maytag motor also draws about 12 amps, so that is accurate. And the belt, the bag type is Y. The belt, the main belt for this is 38628-035, made by the Hoover Incorporated of Glen Willow, Ohio, made in Mexico. The original version of this was made in the USA, but as production of this got cheaper and cheaper, either in Maytag's late ownership or following the TTI buyout, production of these moved to Mexico to cut costs. And right down here is the serial number to the thing. Can't see it too well, but right here, 0610 is what decodes the month and the year. First 2 decodes the month, 3rd and 4th decodes the year. So 06 of 10 would mean this is manufactured in June of 2010. This is, to my knowledge, the last year Hoover would use this style of serial number before it would go to other serials like Q12 or others. I've seen other vacuums that have used that kind of serial, so it's not too easy to tell the date of those. The 12 I can definitely tell you is what decodes this being made in 2012. But this one, was made in 2010. So that's just one thing to point out. So I think I pretty much yammered on for almost 20 minutes. Let's get to running this thing. So let's go ahead and release the cord, which is definitely very nice and long. It's got to at least be 30 feet. So it's going to run down. So we will go ahead and plug this guy in. And now we will go ahead and turn this thing on, and we will give you a demo of it running. Now we're going to turn on the self-propelled, and this definitely has a much different sounding motor compared to the original one that was in it. To me, it honestly sounds much more pleasant. Performance of it, I would argue, is no different. But anyway, here we go. So to use this on bare floors, you simply move it to hard floor, then pull it back and the brush roll will not spin. So you can use this on bare floors as usual. Then when you want to put it back to carpet, just put it back upright, switch it to carpet, and then we do it just as normal. Very nice. This is definitely proof that the old style Maytag motor will work in a newer TTI style Hoover. The base is exactly the same, and in my honest opinion, I do not notice a difference in performance at all. So before we end the video, I'll go ahead and demonstrate this in tool mode for you guys. Very strong, powerful suction. This is just how long of a reach you have with the 2 extension wands. Here's your crevice tool. Brush. That's pretty cool. And last but not least, put these guys up, and I will go ahead and show you the pet hair turbo tool. Try and get this thing off without breaking it. They're right there. Pull that off. Connect it like so. Now let's try and reseal this up. Okay, go ahead and try to reseal this guy up for you, and hopefully we can get a take 2 out of this thing and it can develop suction. Something's wrong with this turbo tool. There's literally nothing wrong with it. It's just a very poorly designed turbo tool. Why, TTI? Why? So, other than that, definitely it has very, very high suction power. I do not buy that it's not enough to turn this pet hair tool. I think it all has something to do with the fact that there may be something stuck in the brush roll that I may need to fix out and clean, but for right now, this is what we got to deal with for now. So forgive the turbo tool fail. But yeah, there's that. For the most part, everything else works flawlessly on this vacuum. And honestly, works a whole lot better while sounding a lot better than it was with the original motor. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on Project TTM, Tektronix Maytag, the Hoover Windtunnel Anniversary Self-Propelled with a Maytag motor swap. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.